This video is sponsored by Paperlike. This space belongs to a chief operations officer of a marketing agency, and it is situated in a co-working space in Vancouver. The challenge with co-working spaces is that sometimes you lack the ability to customize the space the way you want. But lucky for Jake, he got the green light to do as he pleases. In this video, I'll be sharing the process I took in designing this space, and I'll link all the products in the description below. The space is 14 feet 4 by 9 feet. There's one door, 5 relights, which is nice, but that meant we had very little wall space to play with. After loading up the existing office from Jake's sketch, I noticed that everything in the space looked very sterile. The IKEA desk and the filing cabinet the office came with, and even Jake's desk had a white top, so I wanted to be intentional with introducing different materials. As a chief operations officer for his business, the space needed to look good for Zoom meetings and LinkedIn videos. He also wanted to have some privacy to do some stretches and workouts, and he needed storage for his gear and equipment. He also mentioned that he liked going into the common area to get away from the desk, and it would be nice to have the ability to do that in his space. We pretty much had a clean canvas to work on. The only thing Jake was set on keeping was a standing desk he has and the Herman Miller Aeron chair, which I didn't mind. They are great pieces, and I knew that I could build around them anyway, especially since he likes the light wood and white aesthetic. We agreed to get rid of the IKEA table and the shelf that was provided by the owner, and after trying different orientations for the desk, it seemed like it was best to keep it in the same position so we could use this chunk of wall as a backdrop for his meetings. This also allowed him to keep his Mac Mini plugged into the Ethernet port, which was right on this wall. With the desk in place, I decided to design the background wall first, as I knew the rest of the space will kind of design itself. After looking at different options, I remembered that in one of our meetings, Jake kept telling me how he liked the wall slats in my home office, and I thought that was a great way to introduce a natural element into the space to make it more inviting. Plus, this would also address some of the acoustic issues he was having in the space. Since Jake wanted as little DIY as possible, I suggested getting pre-made wood slats like the same one I have here in my home office. These wall slats are beautiful and functional, and they're easy to install. We used 4 panels and centered it on this wall to avoid the current outlet, and they quickly added a warmer feel to the space, which was definitely needed. Since we had limited options on where to locate a storage cabinet, I wanted to tackle that next. Initially, I explored using this corner area by the desk and looked at tall cabinets. I thought this corner would be the best spot, but I did not like that you would be looking at the side of the cabinet, and the scale of it next to the desk didn't feel right. So instead, I decided on using the space below the wall slats, and I chose the Besta from IKEA. The storage cabinet will not only be functional, but it would help set the background for his videos since you can display some items on top of the shelf. I suggested placing decorative items like plants, books, and also personal items that could show what he is about. I highly suggested adding speakers like the U4 Kanto speakers, which he could connect his devices to wirelessly. Although I know this is not the best placement for speakers, it's not bad for casual listening. I had a similar setup a while back, and I actually enjoyed it. This wall was looking pretty good, but the blank space on either side of the wood slats needed something, and the first thing I thought of was to add some sort of lighting. I found this really cool wall sconce that can be hardwired or plugged in, so I loaded it onto the 3D model, and I thought it was perfect. It would add some nice ambient lighting, and it would make the background for his videos look even more put together. Jake already had quality gear in his setup. He had 2 27-inch monitors set on a monitor arm with an integrated arm for his Shure microphone. On top of that, he also had a light for his videos and meetings, and under the desk he has a Mac Mini mounted, along with his audio interface and cloud lifter. It was set up pretty well and it works for him, so there's not much I felt like I had to do with the desk setup other than to help clean it up a little bit. I really wanted to add a desk shelf in his setup to help hide the wires and mounting arm. However, it would be in the way of the integrated mic arm, so I had to let that go. Instead, I just added a desk pad to give it some visual organization. For storage, I suggested using the filing cabinet included with the office, but he really didn't want to, so I thought this neat filing cabinet from Ergonoffice would do the trick. It's a great place to store accessories like charging cables and whatnot, and he can store important documents at the bottom since it has locks. At this point, it was obvious that we created 2 zones, a working area, and a sitting area. So I decided to add a rug to serve as a visual separation between the two zones, and this was perfect as it covered up a good portion of the concrete floors and should help with the acoustics in his space. Instead of adding some shelves on top of the desk, we decided it would be nice to add the same wood slat panels on this wall to really tie it all together. Every time I do any kind of design, I use my iPad, especially in the early planning stages. The iPad and Apple Pencil combo has been really great for that. But what made the experience better for me is installing a paper-like screen protector on my iPad. As the name suggests, it makes writing and drawing on your iPad feel more like paper, and I think it actually does. In fact, I've been using one since 2019. Their screen protectors are using a nano dot technology that gives the screen resistance and makes the stylus vibrate, which emulates the feeling of a traditional pen and paper. And last year, they made it even better. The new Paperlike 2.1 has nano dots layer that is spread more evenly across the surface of the screen protector compared to previous models. After putting it on my iPad Pro, I immediately saw the difference. The display looked more vibrant, pictures and videos looked sharp and crisp, and interacting with the paper-like screen protector felt even more enjoyable. You are definitely getting a better visual experience with the same paper-like feeling. If you haven't tested one yet, I highly suggest that you check it out in the link below, along with the other great accessories they offer. After designing the work area, this corner seemed like a perfect spot to sit and relax. So I wanted this corner to feel a little bit different. I opted for a round carpet to break up the straight lines and create even more visual separation between the two zones. Initially, I chose the Marabo chair from IKEA, but it was simply too big and I thought the armrests made the space feel tighter. So I kept looking and found this Havberg lounge chair from IKEA, and it comes with a matching ottoman which would make it a really nice chair to relax in. And it could double as additional seating for the space. This chair looks fantastic. I chose the one in golden brown as I think it adds a nice pop of color in the space, but I told Jake that if he prefers black or gray, he could go with that instead. I think this selection made the space feel more open, and when he needs to do his workouts, he could simply move everything to the side. Then I added a floor lamp to act as a task and ambient light for when he's doing work or just relaxing. I also surrounded the sitting area with indoor plants as it helps create a more inviting environment, and studies show that it helps reduce stress, promote relaxation, and boost productivity. To address the privacy concerns he had, I suggested using smart blinds. I have 2 smart blinds in my home office and I absolutely love it. They are Shangri-La sheer shades, which is nice because it lets light in when I want, but from the outside in, you can't really see much. Although using smart blinds for all 5 relights would be nice, it's a bit overkill, so I suggested getting at least 3 for the sitting area, as these are the ones he'll most likely open, and he could just get regular blinds or shades for the other 2 just to save a little bit of money. After looking at the space, I thought this corner by the desk felt too flat, and it seemed like the missed opportunity to introduce depth and contrast. So I decided to paint it a darker color and use the Hail Navy from Benjamin Moore, and I thought it was the right call. That simple move gave more interest to the space, and after adding these minimal shelves I found online, it tied the whole space together, and I think it looked much better. On the shelf, he could display some personal items from his trips since he's big on traveling, and it could be a sweet spot to display some gear like this AirPods Max. I added a few finishing touches like a little bit more plants. I added hooks behind the doors that I found from Amazon. I added LED strips, a few succulents. I also grabbed the model of a portable AC unit and found a perfect spot for it. Jake said he's looking to add one because during the summer it gets really hot, and so I thought this was perfect, so when he needs additional ducting or whatnot, he could run it parallel to the existing pipes and he can hide it a little bit better. I'm really happy with how everything turned out. This shows how much design can take a space to another level. Selecting the right materials can turn what was once a cold and sterile place to a more inviting and inspiring space to work in. This revamp enables him to represent his company better as a COO, and it's a great solution that meets his needs as a person. The most important thing though is that Jake was very happy after seeing this design. I think his work area turned out really well, the background for his videos are elevated, and the sitting area provides a spot for relaxation or even just having a friend to come over and chat. I can't wait to see the actual space when Jake gets this space done, and I'll definitely try to share some photos over on my Instagram whenever I can. Let me know what you guys think of this video. If you want to see more videos like this, let me know by typing revamp in the comments below. Like this video if you enjoyed it, subscribe if you loved it. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.